A Plaguelands Media production.
Hey everyone, this is Hugh from Plaguelands Media bringing you another book review today, so cheers. Oh, that is refreshing. Now, today I'm bringing you a book that I have actually read before, a long time ago, by an author that I used to find very compelling, actually. Now, to give you a little bit of a backstory here, when I was growing up, especially when I was a teenager, I had a lot of trouble connecting with my father. That's not to say that he was a bad person or I was an asshole and we had nothing in common. It was just that we had nothing to talk about. He was interested in one thing, I was interested in other things that he didn't really quite understand. And so the way that I kind of started to bridge that gap was by reading the books that he enjoyed reading, namely books by authors like Tom Clancy, Robert Ludlum, things like this, that kind of gave us something to talk about, and I found that I actually really enjoyed them. I really enjoy the Tom Clancy novels, and so when Matthew Reilly kind of burst on the scene in, I guess it would be the late 90s, early 2000s. I can't really tell you exactly when. I started reading the books and then I'd pass them on to Dad, and Dad would read the books and we would kind of have a lot of fun with them. And one of the main characters was a character called Scarecrow, or Shane Schofield. His code name was Scarecrow because he had these kind of cuts over his eyes, so to speak. And I believe the first Scarecrow novel I read was actually the second book that he was in, Area 7, where he was part of the president's kind of protection in this secret bunker, and he was being attacked by guys. And then I went back and read Ice Station, where there was supposedly a UFO that had crashed and all these people were trying to get it, and he ended up fighting with the French, and it was not a UFO, it was some kind of Russian thing, I think. And through that we got to know a lot of the characters that are prevalent in the Scarecrow novels, like Schofield's girlfriend, who was also a Marine, by the name of Gant, and Mother, who is... Mother is her code name, which is short for motherfucker. She actually gets her leg bitten off by a killer whale in the first book. And in the novel Scarecrow, his girlfriend is actually decapitated by the villain. Then there was like a novella called Hell Island, where it had Scarecrow and his group of Marines going up against some gorillas that had been tested on or some shit. And then we get to the novel I'm going to review today, Scarecrow Returns. This came out in 2011. Now, Matthew Reilly is an Australian author. He's not a good author in as much as his grasp of writing techniques is not really on par with a lot of other authors. But that is not to say that he is a bad novelist. His books are filled with action. In fact, I firmly believe that Matthew Reilly would be a fantastic screenwriter writing action films. I don't know if he has actually moved into that or not. I know some of his books, like The Contest, I should say, have been optioned as films, and when you read a Matthew Reilly novel, you're just reading an action film on paper. Like, that's it. It is nothing but action from start to finish. At no point does it let up to the to the reader, it's going to be unrealistic. And that's the fun of reading a Matthew Reilly novel. Now, back in the day, when I first started reading Matthew Reilly, I absolutely loved him as an author. He was one of my favorite authors. My tastes have obviously changed over the years and over the video reviews that you have seen if you've been a part of this channel. And rereading Scarecrow Returns, it was mediocre, but fun. I liked the plot. I thought the plot would rival any of the action trash that Hollywood are putting out now, in as much as if this was made into a movie, I would definitely go and see this on the big screen. I think it would be fucking phenomenal. It would be a ton of fun, a popcorn movie, a summer blockbuster with the best of them. It would just be absolutely awesome. Of course, you'd have to change the name because no one knows who the fuck Scarecrow is and why he's back. But, yeah. Would I recommend this? If you wanted a quick and easy, fun airport read, like if you're flying somewhere for 2 hours, yeah, pick it up and give it a go. It's great fun. If you're a fan of action, that's all you're going to get in this book. I mean, there are some character development things that happen here. We get to find out a little more about Scarecrow, what he went through after his girlfriend was decapitated by a guillotine, no less. We get to find out more about his grandfather and his father. So there's a lot of that in there. But this is just a first-person shooter novel. This is Call of Duty in a book. I had fun with it, I will admit. Am I going to come back in 10 years' time and read it again? No, I'm not. I'm going to put this in the box at work and let any student who wants to have a good, fun action read take it. But I am now going to get into a spoiler-filled review of Scarecrow Returns by Matthew Reilly. So stick around for the next episode of...
Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. People.
So if you've ever read any of the other Scarecrow novels, or from my intro, Scarecrow is a badass Marine captain. The toughest of the tough, but after his girlfriend is killed, he has a bit of a mental breakdown and kind of takes some time off, almost commits suicide, but is stopped by mother. And this book picks up where he is now kind of up in the frozen wastelands, testing weapons and equipment to see whether they work in the cold. He was formerly a trainer at the kind of Marine school, which he excelled at, but they kind of pushed him out of the way. And while he's there, they get a call coming through that there's something going on at this place called Dragon Island. Dragon Island is a former Russia military facility. And his team is the closest team there. And they have only a couple of hours to get there. Now, one of the things about Matthew Reilly is he loves his countdowns. So every chapter or so you get 1 hour until blah, blah, blah. 55 minutes until blah, blah, blah. So they've got a few hours to get to this place and find out what the fuck is going on. This place has been taken over by a group calling themselves the Army of Thieves. And the Lord of Anarchy is kind of residing over it. And the plan is to fire a missile with a red uranium kind of bulb into this toxic gas cloud, and that's going to set the gas cloud on fire, which is ultimately going to destroy all of China, a little bit of the United States. Some other places are going to be casualties, and the Chinese are going to go to war with Russia or what's left of China is going to go to war with Russia because it's being fired from a Russian military facility. The Army of Thieves is a terrorist organization, so Scarecrow and the squad of kind of Marines they have there head to this island. They've also got some civilians. One of these civilians decides not to go and stays at the base camp. The two civilians, Zach and Emma, work for DARPA, and Zach has designed this robot called Bertie, who is like this all-purpose robot, but he's got weaponry, and while Zach is his main buddy, he basically programs Bertie to follow Scarecrow as his secondary buddy. And Scarecrow has some of his team with him. He's got Mother, of course. He's got the kid, and this guy called Mario is his call sign only because his last name is Puzo, and Mario Puzo is the author that wrote The Godfather. So they get to this island, and they're immediately ambushed, and pretty much all of them are wiped out, so the rest of them flee. And as they flee, they find out that there's a French team there. Now, the French team isn't there because of what is going on the island. The French team is there to assassinate Scarecrow because in the very first novel, Ice Station, the French kind of got pissed off that he fucked up their plan, so they put out an assassination hit on him. And the leader of the assassination group is this woman called Valerie Champion, and she wants to kill Scarecrow because Scarecrow killed her cousin who was working at the ice station developing this chemical weapon. But she doesn't know that. She just thinks he killed the cousin, and the cousin was a civilian. She has this guy with her called Baba, who is this like giant bull of a man and kind of the French equivalent of Mother, because Mother's this kind of big fucking butch of a chick. And there's a relationship that forms there. So the French team meets the remnants of the American squad. They decide to work together to find out what is going on. And so they go into this base with the mission that they have to either destroy the missile batteries, throw the red uranium spheres into the ocean, or take out the kind of satellite dish that is protecting Dragon Island from scrying, so that there can be a nuclear strike down on the island itself and just wipe everything out. And they've only got like 2 hours to fucking do this in. I'm not going to go into what happens to everyone. The party gets split up. They all have their separate missions, and shit absolutely hits the fan in the best action movie fucking way, where, you know, they steal an aircraft and crash it off a fucking waterfall into the Arctic Ocean. They, the fucking group gets split up. Some of them get fucking shot, but they're still carrying on. I believe Scarecrow gets shot like twice. Champion gets shot once, and she's still going on. The robot gets thrown in the ocean. Mother and Baba go off and do their thing, and it's a fucking action movie shit show. It would be like me trying to describe Tango and Cash scene by scene. It's not going to fucking happen. Ultimately, we come to... Oh, by the way, while all this is going on, there's some guys in... like this guy and girl in Washington that have discovered who is behind the Army of Thieves, who the Master of Anarchy actually is, and suddenly they're targeted, and they're trying to get to the White House to inform the president of exactly what is going on Dragon Island. They're in contact with Scarecrow, so they give Scarecrow the information. And so Scarecrow is trying to kind of use that. They manage to get rid of 4 of the red uranium spheres. There's still 2 in a suitcase that Zack and Emma and Mother have, but they're being pursued by the Army of Thieves. And there is 1 red uranium sphere still somewhere on the base. So the Kid and Mario are tasked with taking out the missile batteries, which they're almost about to do, but Mario, having gotten an earpiece from one of the dead Army of Thieves guys, is then coerced by the Master of Anarchy to switch sides because Mario believes this is a suicide mission and he doesn't want to fucking die. So at point blank range, he shoots the kid in the forehead and joins the Army of Thieves. The Army of Thieves, we come to learn, is not a terrorist organization in as much as you understand what a terrorist organization is. The Army of Thieves is a CIA creation. And this whole plot to shoot the red uranium spheres into this gas cloud was a CIA plan by this guy called Calderon, Marius Calderon, who devised this in 1984 as a means of keeping China in check if they ever became a world superpower, which at this point they actually have. So he has created this fake terrorist army, although the people in the army believe it's a real terrorist organization, in order to frame the Russians for destroying China and thus making America the greatest superpower in the world again. So once this CIA plot has come to fruition, everything fucking goes to shit. We have the Army of Thieves taking the civilian that was left at the base camp. They take one of the Marines that was ambushed at the very beginning, but managed to survive. And they end up managing to capture Mother, Baba, and at the same time Scarecrow. But Mother was with Zack and Emma, and she did a ploy to get them away, so they have the remaining spheres and they're free. But Mother, Baba, and Scarecrow have been all captured by Marius Calderon and the Army of Thieves. Champion is still alive, and we come to find out that Calderon is a master of torture, and so Scarecrow watches as he tortures the Marine leader by electrocuting him. The civilian that was left at the base gets a box with rats put on his head, and the rats kind of eat through his fucking eyeballs and shit. And then he's forced to watch as Mother and Baba have those same boxes put on their heads and rats put in. And that kind of breaks Scarecrow, and Calderon is like, I don't need you anymore. It's over. We've got the spheres. We've captured Zack and Emma. It's done. And kills Scarecrow through electrocution. Takes Scarecrow and throws him onto this conveyor belt that's going to lead into a furnace. As the conveyor belt goes under the bridge that they are on, or the balcony that they're on, I should say, Scarecrow doesn't come out the other side. And we find out that the robot Bertie survived the fall in the water, found Champion. Champion gave Bertie all her weapons, and Bertie followed the jeep that had Scarecrow in it and was hiding there. And when he saw Scarecrow's dead body, he got out these little defibrillator pads and brought him back to life and gave Scarecrow the weapons, and Scarecrow injected himself with this first aid stuff, and now he's on the fucking rampage. So, just so you missed it, a fucking robot brings the hero back to life with defibrillator pads, and the hero goes on the rampage and proceeds to kill over 40 of these Army of Thieves guys with the robot, because the robot's got a gun as well. This all happens towards the end of the book. Calderon escapes. A few people escape. Mother and Baba are not dead from the rats. They had, in fact, killed the rats Ozzy Osbourne style in the in the head cages. So now you've got the team back together for the big fucking showdown at the end, where there are going to be two possible outcomes. There's a giant train where they're going to fire the uranium balls into the atmosphere from a missile battery, but it can only do it if the train is stationary. So Mother and Baba jump on that train to keep it going, trying it not to stop. Schofield goes after Calderon, who's going to a plane and has taken the thing that's stopping the nuclear strike. So his plan is to fly off the island, throw the uranium ball into the gas cloud and fly away, and the nuclear strike's going to wipe out all evidence. Mother and Baba stop the train, but Baba is killed in the interim. There is a fight on the aircraft. Scarecrow uses his signature weapon, which I probably should have mentioned. It's called a mag hook. It's like a magnetic fucking grappling hook or some shit. So he gets on the plane and that thing kind of doesn't happen either. And back in Washington, the two people who are being pursued by, we now know is the CIA, manage to get to the White House and explain everything to the president. And they stop the terrorist attack, and the world does not end in a fiery fucking bombshell. Now, I skipped a lot here. I skipped a lot about Scarecrow's grandfather being this Marine hero and his father not following in his footsteps and being this savvy businessman who makes millions of dollars, who regularly beats his wife, and he beat Scarecrow when he was a kid. And when the Scarecrow's father killed himself, he left millions of dollars to Scarecrow, who donated it all away. He doesn't want like that dirty money. I left out a lot of kind of psychological stuff and things like that, but this is just an action book, pure and simple. You get the fucking idea. It's like watching one of the later Fast and Furious movies, where it just doesn't stop. Everything just fucking keeps going. That's what this was like. I had fun with it. It was good for what it was. Wouldn't read it again. I would recommend it to people that just want a airport read or a train read. Whatever, something you can pick up, fucking get through in a few hours, and then just pass on to the next person. So, there you go. Matthew Reilly, Scarecrow Returns. Before I do leave you, though, one thing I have to point out about his writing style that really, really pissed me off. So much so that I'm just going to... I needed that. I really did. While the writing style itself is not good, he does something in this book that fucking bugs the shit out of me. And that's sound effects. Every time Scarecrow shoots his gun to take out two people, for example, we get bang bang. Scarecrow pulled the trigger. Bang, bang, 2 headshots. Or someone goes to fire and the gun is out of bullets. She aimed at the army of thieves thug and fired. Click, click. The magazine was empty. Like, really? Do you really fucking need to put that in there? Now, hey, if that's your writing style, that's your writing style. Who am I to shit on that? I'm just saying, it's fucking annoying when you read a book like this. It really does stop the action, and it's something that should be reserved for comic books, things like that, not in a fucking novel. That's just me, though. Just saying. Okay, Matthew Reilly, Scarecrow Returns. There you go. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, leave a comment, hit the notification bell, tell your friends. We are so close to 500 subscribers. And if we get 500 subscribers, I swear to you, I will review the most offensive book, not only in my collection, but there's possibly ever been written. Okay, so think about that. If you want that review, hey, get some subscribers coming in. But until then, stay safe, have a fantastic rest of your day, and most importantly, bing, bing, read a fucking book, people.